Hello and welcome to NARC Live on Wednesday the 28th of December 2022. Coming to you live from Norfolk on the east coast of England with Tammy M0TC.
Hello.
In a Christmas jumper, and me in my same old Christmas jumper as last year, David G7ERP. Good to see you all. In fact, before we go on to tonight's menu, can we just have a look at everybody at home, Tammy? Because lots of people have joined us, as you can see, which is wonderful. Give us a wave if you can hear us. Good.
I'm sorry, I had to just mute you all. So if you're having conversations, I've just muted everybody just for a minute or two. Sorry about that. Ralph, I think, was talking.
So I saw Ralph combing his hair earlier. It took him a lot longer than it did me, I tell you. Anyway, back to the script, as they say. On tonight's show, as we said, it's our end of the year get together on Zoom as well as BATC and Facebook. One of our members has made the Eastern Daily Press news, and we find out what on earth this is. But first, back to the news. So it's good to see everybody who's joined us tonight. And you can still join us. It's not too late to join us on Zoom. The link is on our website, on the front page of our website. It's probably the easiest way is just to click on that. Or we can give it to you later on as well. So let's first start with that picture that we showed you at the beginning of one of our members. And Mike G4DYC spotted this in the Christmas Eve edition of the Eastern Daily Press. And this is the caption for it. Volunteers who give their time to help people with sight loss lead a full and independent life. Were recognised at a special celebration event at Vision Norfolk's Norwich Hub. Lord Mayor of Norwich, Kevin Maguire, Sheriff of Norwich, Caroline Jarrold, and Deputy Lieutenant of Norfolk, Ian Lonsdale, visited the Sight Losses Charities premises in the city to present certificates to the volunteers, each of whom have clocked up many years' service helping vision-impaired people in the town. And shown in the picture, Laura Clifton, Carol Goodson, Janet Head, Mervyn Ivany, who of course is Mervyn G0HZP, one of our members, Alice Lintz, Mike Plummer, Linda Pretty, Matthew Leville Shaw and Anne Telfer give their time to undertake a range of tasks including driving, fundraising, running activities and providing telephone support for people experiencing isolation as a result of their sight loss. So needless to say, congratulations and well done to Mervyn and all of the team of people there who received awards. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we had in fact, it was exactly 2 weeks ago tonight, we were just about, let me see what time, we were just about tucking into our starters at the Christmas dinner party at the Village Inn. We've got a few pictures to show you here, in case you didn't make it. And it was a good time I had by all, and an amazing 69 people came as well to the party, which is really good. And as part of that, if you were coming, we did ask if you could to bring a little gift that was gift wrapped for our raffle, which we ran right at the end. And I'm pleased to say we raised an amazing £270 for the club's nominated charity as well, which was cancer research. So that will be added to the other money that we've raised this year. So thanks for everybody who supported that and brought along and bought raffle tickets as well. Now, last time we met online was actually 3 weeks ago on the 7th of December. And we told you about the moon occult the next morning, very early as far as I remember.
It was like 5 o'clock or something.
You did nudge me, I think, didn't you?
I did get up.
Did I?
You didn't know.
Thanks. But somebody who did was Peter M0VRA. And this is what he said. These are his pictures. And he says, well, I was daft enough to get up to see the event as the attachments show. The moon is very bright due to the 4-shot sequence of the night shot setting. Unfortunately, cloud and cold prevented the witnessing of the exit. Yes, I know what you mean, Peter. You didn't wait when we got back though, did you?
Well, I only just walked outside, and I did look at it through the binoculars, and then I just walked outside to go and try and take some pictures as it was getting nearer. And by the time I got outside, I couldn't even see the moon. No,
it was. So, we just got it, didn't we? Well done, Peter. Thanks for those pictures as well. It was wonderful. Now, just to tell you about NARC, we've had one Wednesday off. Last Wednesday, we thought most people would be busy getting ready for Christmas, but tonight I'm so pleased that so many of you are joining us either on Zoom or at home on BATC and Facebook. And I'd like to tell you what's happening in the club this Wednesday, because from now on we meet pretty much every Wednesday, as far as I know, for the rest of the year. And this is how we meet in January. So we've put a slide together. Here we are. So next Wednesday's January the 4th, and we meet again, NARC Live Online, with a talk from Anthony K8ZT on assessing the effectiveness of your station. The following Wednesday, January the 11th, we meet at CNS in our usual room, and we'll include a hands-on informal workshop. But you'll notice the time there. I've discussed this with a few people, and a few people did think it was a bit rushed to meet if we finished at 9. Now, we used to have to finish at 9. It wasn't our choice. The school pulled the time back from the original 10 o'clock down to 9:30 and then 9. But they now enable us to meet later. So I've booked all of the rooms now for right up until the end of April for the meetings that we're going to have there. And I've booked it till 9:30. So you can arrive around 7 o'clock and we'll get a good 2 hours or so in as well without that rush of packing up about 10 to 9, something like that. So, and this hands-on workshop idea, I know a lot of you would like to just meet for social reasons, and that's absolutely fine, of course, to just meet and have a chat with your radio chums there. But I think a lot of people also want to do some of the hands-on, the things that we can't do online here on NARC Live. So for those people, we're just asking for ideas from you, really. We've run a few already, in fairly impromptu ones. We ran one on multimeters with Tony. We ran one on Christmas LED setups and shows with James. I brought in a video camera to talk about lenses one week, and they can be that sort of informal thing. But we would like ideas to come from you, our members. So if you come along to those CNS meetings and you can make suggestions for us of the sort of thing you'd like. Either you would like to maybe put on an informal workshop. It's not a talk. It's just a group of a few people around a table to have a look at one particular aspect of radio or electronics or something related to that. Then please do let us know, because we're looking for ideas from you. Anyway, on January the 18th, that's the week after, the Wednesday after that, and we've got a talk again here on NARC Live with all about Macintosh's team's theory regarding the sunspot cycle with Frank K for FMH. And then finally, the last Wednesday in January the 25th is another meeting at CNS again, 7 till 9:30. So that's a look at what's happening at NARC this month. And we haven't had much news from you, I must admit, for the last few weeks, but I know you've been busy and eating and busy and drinking and eating and all those sort of things that you do around Christmas. But we have had this from Paul G3VPT. And he says, "Hi David and Tammy, after all these years, I've just found out how to get walnuts out of the shell in one piece." I think it's the object to the back left.
That's intriguing.
It is.
I've got some walnuts.
Do you think they would do them in one piece as well?
I don't know, I'll have to try it.
Anyway, it's nice to see Paul's
some
nuts.
walnuts
I was going to say,
from
but I mustn't say that because we're a clean show, so we'll just say thank you very much for that picture, Paul. Remember, we do meet again next week for NARC Live here, so we would love your pictures and stories or anything at all that you've got relevant for us and to share with other club members. Drop them onto the usual address, radio@dcpmicro.com. There's the email address at the bottom of your screen now. If you can send them to us by about 3 o'clock next Wednesday, that means we'll be sure to get them on the show. Right, Tammy, enough from me. Little people.
Little people. Have you ever wondered what happens to all the COVID tests in the world when they've been
Used. Recycled. Oh.
They can use for little people.
Oh, yes. Do you know what? A year or so ago, we wouldn't have wanted to joke about that, would we? But, it is a good use for them.
I'm not sure we do now, to be honest.
No, we don't joke, true. But nevertheless, it is a use for them. I also saw that you could use them as insulators for aerial.
This is much more fun.
It is more fun. That is really good, isn't it? Just 3 years ago, we wouldn't even know what they were.
No, well, they haven't been invented, have they?
That's right. And what are they? Earbuds, aren't they?
What?
That they're using for yours?
Probably some kind of earbuds, aren't they?
Yeah. Great, thank you very much. And that's the address to have a look at those. Wonderful Japanese website, miniature-calendar.com. Thanks very much for that, Tammy. As I said, please keep in touch with what you've been doing and send us details. Ideally by next Wednesday, we'd love some more pictures and things from you of what you've been doing. But now it's back to that competition that we set 3 weeks ago. What on earth is this? I don't know if we've had anybody online who've asked. No?
We haven't had any.
No guesses online. but we have had quite a few by email over those few weeks. So, starting with Neil, G4JUV, he says it's the resonance chamber from a cavity magnetron for microwave radar and more recently cooking.
Simon M0SIH, I think the item shown on What on Earth Is This is a cavity magnetron.
Bob G6PWS says my suggestion for What on Earth is a pasta die. I've seen a lot of them, but I can't quite see what sort this is, so I hope I'm right.
That is actually what pasta dies do look like,
Is it?
don't they? I've seen the machine because they push it out and then there's a knife that goes around the outside and chops it. You look at me really blankly like I have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's continue. Let's continue. Kev, M0KKM. This week's What on Earth is a cavity part of an early magnetron.
Tony M0TDK says this week's object is a picture of the original anode of the cavity magnetron developed by Randall and Boot in about 1940.
Bruce G4KZT, I think this week's object is a magnetron cavity, probably from a microwave oven.
And John J8VPE says, I recognise the mystery object straight away. It's the anode block from a cavity magnetron. And it may not surprise you. I was going to say, the answer is, it is a magnetron picture. And this came from Steve G0KYA. Now, he sent us that original picture. And I want to just give you a bit of background on this, because what Steve said to me is that, do you remember a few weeks ago we had a picture of a bowl, a pet feeding bowl, that was to slow pets feeding down?
Yeah, the slow feeder, yeah.
And when he saw that, he thought initially it was in a magnetron.
Right.
And that gave him the idea to send this in. And actually, a couple of years ago, I think now, NARC Live, we had a picture of a more modern magnetron, but I said, well, send it in anyway, and we did it, and that's what it was about.
Yeah.
So there we are. Thank you very much, Steve, for sending us that picture. Well done to those of you who got it right as well. I hope you had fun at home. So we've got another picture for you now. You've got just a week to tell us what you think this is. And I think this might be one of those objects you either say, yeah, I know what that is, or no, but see if you can work out what on earth is this for. Any ideas?
I knew what that was.
Yeah, we don't, by the way, write it on BATC or Facebook, because this is a strictly
secret.
Send us an email.
It's a secret.
Well, I suppose so, yeah. What do you think that could be used for? Okay, have a look at it. I think the ladies might have just played around a little bit with the picture to make it slightly less easy as well. It's good. It's good. No, don't worry. I'm not disapproving. I think it's good. Okay. Anyway, if you know what that is, or if you can reason out what that could be used for, then send it to this address, radio@dcpmicro.com. Again, send it to us by 3 o'clock next Wednesday, and we'll include your entries. I can see some of them at home. This is nice to be able to watch people at home, because you see some of the knowing looks. And some of them are just thinking, what is that thing?
Some of them are just boozing, I think.
Well, that's true. That's true. But it is Christmas, or just after Christmas.
Yeah.
All right, lovely. Okay. So we would, by the way, love some more What on Earth objects. We're sort of struggling through week by week with only a couple in hand. And we only meet every other week now, roughly, online. But we would love some more. So maybe that object there is giving you an idea for something that you might have around your home. That you think people might stand a chance of knowing, but it'll be interested to see.
So have a look through your drawers.
See yourself. Follow that, as they say. Let's have a look what's coming up at the club this week before we meet everybody at home and have a chat. So this coming Sunday, I normally say at this time, we've got GB2RS News at 7, but we haven't. So this week there's a break because the RSGB headquarters is closed, so there will be no GB2RS News this Sunday. But on Monday, we've got the Norfolk Amateur Radio Club Monday Night Net, as usual, the GB3MB. And at 8:30, the 80-metre CW net on 3.543 megahertz as well. And that's the CW net on Monday. And then next Wednesday, as I said earlier, we're going to have NARC meeting online with, I think we've got a slide of this, haven't we, Tammy? Yep. Successful operating, assessing the effectiveness of your station with Anthony K8ZT. I think he came to us last in September, something like that.
I can't remember now.
So it'd be good to welcome him back.
Times, haven't we?
As I said earlier, don't forget to send us your pictures and your stories and anything like that to help us fill this nice little bit of the programme before we get onto the main talk as well. And also, of course, we have this club card, which we're always happy to send to anybody. We had a few Christmas ones to send. We've had a couple of sympathy cards as well, unfortunately, to send recently as well. But if you'd like us to send this to anybody at all, anywhere in the world, this is our club card, and we will be happy to do it. Just send us an email with their address, and we'll add your name to ours and send it to them. This is the address to send anything to for the show. radio@dcpmicro.com. Thank you. Right, enough from us, I think. Let's get and talk to some of these guests at home. So
Okay.
let's see who we've got. Can we see that picture there, Tammy, so everybody at home can see who's joining us there. It isn't too late to join us, if you can. We've got Ralph, James and Lynn, Tony, Malcolm's
chair.
But he'll be there, Malcolm's chair. David, Richard, John, Steve, Kevin, Bob, Henry, Tony and Paul. Wonderful.
There is a few more people as well, I think. You just haven't got their cameras on at the moment.
And that's absolutely fine as well, but hopefully you'll join us as well. I mean, we could just start from the top and go through, or if you want to raise your hand, if you'd like to show us anything in particular or anything. Let's start. Should we go as far away as we can? I think the furthest away person there is the first one on the picture for
Ralph?
us. Which is
I'm
Ralph.
sorry. I did cut Ralph off earlier.
Hello, Ralph.
Hang on, I can't hear Ralph.
In Norfolk, Suffolk and Cambridge. It's good to see you, and it's good to be able to catch up with you. I am very, very concerned about what Kevin is swigging, because it's obviously not medicinal. Can I suggest, Kevin, that you get some of that and take an aspirin and go to bed, and you'll feel very, very much better.
Is that official advice from a doctor, Ralph?
Yes. If you put an aspirin on the table, you take a glass of that. You continue with glasses of that. When the aspirin turns into 2, take them both and go to bed, and you'll be all right in the morning.
But you are a real doctor, aren't you? I'm surprised that's coming from you. If you don't mind me saying that.
There's a lot of things that you might be surprised coming from. Well, yes, that's not bad, Kevin. That's not bad. That's sort of third class to the real stuff. 43%. What have you got? 40%? 40 what? Gosh.
I can't read that.
Where did you get that from? The tank of your car?
No, Lidl.
It's great to see everybody, and it's great that we can communicate across borders and have fun, and also have fellowship. I think it's vitally important that we keep the spirit of friendship, particularly between Scotland and England at this difficult time. And thank you, Tammy, and your lovely husband, or should I say your lovely husband and Tammy, or the other way round, 3 times up and down. I think it's great that you keep this going, and you've kept this going for so long. So thank you very much for including me in the fellowship of the Norfolk Amateur Radio Group.
Well, thanks very much, Ralph. It's been a pleasure to carry on. As we've always said, I think through this, as long as people are there and want it, we'll be very happy to continue with it. And I think we've reached a reasonable balance now, of course, where we meet. Yeah. We have some real physical meetings, which we appreciate for some of our friends a little bit further away. It's not always practical to get to, but at least it allows people to be connected. But it is nice to do this tonight as well. It's a long time. I think it's probably April time when we went back.
Well, it was before we actually started meeting at the club, wasn't it?
Yeah, which I think is about April, May last year. So it's a long time since we did this, and I'm so pleased to see so many people there as well, which is really
David,
good.
I've got a funny feeling Kevin's been and got something else. No,
Vim,
he just ran away. Okay,
Vimto, I should think. Yeah, well, we'll come. We'll I mean, I don't. Should we ask as we're going around what are they drinking? What everybody drinking?
Yeah, why not?
This would be an interesting one,
Yeah,
wouldn't
definitely.
it? I haven't got anything actually, which is very rare.
No.
Anyway, never mind. Let's go round to James and Lynn. They're next, just on the screen. So, good evening to you guys.
Good evening. How are you two?
Oh, we're fine. How are you?
Fine now. Yeah. We're
getting there.
Getting there. Yeah. We've been a little bit all over Christmas, unfortunately. So,
yes,
say that,
the dreaded. I mean, I wasn't going to mention it unless you did, but you've had the the dreaded thing that you've avoided for the last 2 and a bit years, haven't you? So.
Yeah, well, it was a matter of when, wasn't it, really? So, to say, but with the other side now anyway, and I'm drinking lemonade and stones, ginger wine.
Lemonade and stones. All right. Okay. And Lynn, can I ask what you're drinking?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, what's in the right hand? We can't see that.
It'll be a cup of tea in a minute.
Oh, that's my sort of drink.
Yeah.
Cup of tea.
Yeah.
Boring that I am. All right. Lovely. Well, it's lovely to see you both. I don't know if you've. I mean, we'll have time to come around to you again and things if you'd like. I don't know if you've got any unboxing type things or anything that you've prepared, but I know you haven't been well, so maybe you haven't. James, you've had no deliveries in the back door, with a brown box that you haven't wanted Lynn to see arrive or anything like that?
Well, it wouldn't be a time to bring them out now, would it? You didn't know about.
It's just between you and us and a few hundred other people. I mean, it's nothing really. Okay. All right. Many thanks. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
All right. I don't know if hopefully some people have got some unboxing things. We've got a couple of sort of things, haven't we? We've got to show at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and meet some other people first. Let's say hello now to Tony M0TDK. Hello.
You need to unmute.
You'll need to
It'll work
unmute,
even
Tony.
better if I unmute, won't it?
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year. I'm drinking a rather indifferent Malbec from a supermarket. It's red and contains minimal amounts of alcohol.
Right. So what sort of Malbec? Is that a
Malbec,
wine?
yeah.
Oh, Malbec. Is that a wine? You know what I mean.
Well, yes, it's a grape, but Malbec wines are sort of redder than some. They're further to the left than white wines. Put it that way.
Is it nice?
No, it's terrible. I should be happy when I finish the
Yeah,
cake.
finish it. Yeah. Well, I mean, look at our doctor. We've got our own TV doctor now on the show, and he said just have plenty of it and have a couple of Valentine.
Well, I would like to ask Ralph, which of the 3 aspirins in front of him now is he going to eat?
Ralph?
I'm going to have all 4 of them.
He's obviously a member of the Royal College of something or other, anyway.
I don't know. Are we gonna be...
both of Edinburgh and London.
Well, there you go.
So I cover everything. I'm not sure what everything is, but I cover it.
Oh, goodness me. I wonder what sort of state they're going to be in by the time we finish this.
I don't know.
But anyway. All right, Tony. Well, it's lovely to see you, Tony.
Well, it's always good to see you, David, and thank you for keeping us all on the straight and narrow.
Oh, I don't know about that at all.
Anyway.
What I don't drink as well, my wife makes up for, as I always say.
Pardon?
So nothing. All right. Thanks, Tony. Have you got anything to show us, by the way? Anything unboxing-wise?
No, not really. I mean, I tend to have boring things that he's obviously unboxing. There's activity in Scotland I don't wish to repeat.
No, okay. Well, I think we all know what he's unboxed, but it's
himself primarily.
Bottle shape. Yes, all right. Okay, Tony. Well, it's lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us on this special sort of Christmas New Year edition. Now, let's have a look and talk to Malcolm, G3PDH. Hello, Malcolm.
Let me unmute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. All right, fine. Yeah, well, good evening to everybody, and just wish to wish everyone season's greetings. Not really anything to unbox or anything, but went over to my daughter's for Christmas Day, which was very nice, with the grandchildren, and went to a superb show on Boxing Day at the Hippodrome in Great Yarmouth. Spectacular, which was really good.
Is that the one in the Hippodrome?
The Hippodrome, yes, yeah.
That is extraordinary, isn't it? I don't know how many other... I mean, some of the people who are not local to Norfolk, they may not know, but this is really quite a traditional sort of circus type... well, it was called a circus, isn't it? And it's done like a circus ring.
That's right.
And the way you sit round it. But it does something rather special about halfway through from the ones I've been to.
Absolutely, yes, at the end. I've been before, but yes, at the end, I don't know how it works really, whether the water, it turns into well, not a swimming pool, but a pool, a water pool, which is about 5 feet deep, I think, something like that. And they then do pretty amazing laser light show onto the water before all these girls appear doing synchronized swimming, dancing, whatever it is. And I understand it. There's only probably 2 of them in Europe, and it's very old, but it still works. And all of a sudden the floor is gone, and there's a swimming pool where people have been doing all the dancing and everything on the floor before, and then it's just water. It's very clever indeed the way they do it, and you just don't notice it happening. And then all of a sudden it's like a swimming pool in front of you. And they spray water as well from jets to add to the effect. So anyway, yeah, the show was really good. Mainly it's juggling acts and feats of acrobats and things, really, which is very good indeed, really excellent. But other than that, sort of fairly quiet otherwise. Today I've been up to Spalding. Are you still hearing me? Are you?
Yeah, we've got you now.
Something funny happened on my screen then. It came up with a message. I don't know what it was. I've been up to meet up with Dave G3RXP and his wife up in Spalding today. So we had a nice lunch up there. So that's really all I've been doing. I'm going out tomorrow night. So not quite sure about New Year's Eve. But anyway, season's greetings to everybody on here. And thanks to you, David and Tammy, for keeping all this going for all this time, which is pretty amazing, really.
Yeah, it does seem strange to think back. Thank you very much, by the way, Malcolm. By the way, when I last went there, and it was only... Was it this year we went?
We went in the summer, yeah.
I don't think they had laser shows on the water then, so we'll have to go back and have a look. Thank you for the thought, and I really appreciate the thanks, but that's not what we're doing this for. But it does seem extraordinary that it's sort of a couple of years now, and I suppose it's coming on for 3 years in a way, isn't it? Since this is all happening. But anyway, I know that this is for those of you who maybe only recently joined us. I mean, it was logical when the club started meeting again to go back to what we used to do. But what most people wanted us to do was to continue doing our talks and things online. So although we used to do things like we're doing now, interactives. Occasionally as well, once a month or so, the membership really decided that instead of having guests coming in remotely to the school and us taking all this equipment that we've got here to the school to do it, that they'd rather watch it at home. So that's why we've sort of carried on with NARC Live. As I said, it's just nice to do this again because it is some time since we did it. So anyway, thank you very much, Malcolm, for joining us tonight.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
And David, round to you now. I'm trying to remember your call sign. It's M6, isn't it? David Stansfield. It's M6DPC. Is that right, David?
Yeah. Good evening. That's correct, David. So I'm not sure if it was me or another David.
No, sorry.
Yeah, good. That's all right. Can't see who was on there. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for hosting this, and thanks to the committee as well for the past year as well. They do a good job in the background as well.
Absolutely, yeah. No, thanks. It's a team effort.
My audio is right on that.
Yeah, we've got you fine.
That's right. I quickly popped off because everyone was talking about drinks, so I got one of my. Oh, you can't see it, can you?
Drambuie.
If you hold it in front of your face, actually, David, it won't blur it. That's it.
Better?
You just hold right in front of your face. I know that seems odd, but that works then.
Yeah.
Drambuie. Yeah.
Isle of Skye liquor.
And now we've got some thumbs up from someone north of the border, just above you on my screen here.
That's all right, because Ralph lives not that far from where I was born. I was born in Kirkcudbright, but I was obviously, with my accent, you can tell I was brought up in London and Essex.
Ah, right, okay. I mean, Drambuie, dram being a wee dram is the sort of thing they'd say. I mean, is it a Scottish drink?
Yes.
Okay, sorry my ignorance, but...
Yeah, it's a blend. It's got heather and honey in it.
Ooh, heather and honey?
It's a weird conversation.
That's your
spices.
Oh, really? Okay. Recommended then.
David, I'm shocked, David, that you don't know what Drambuie is. You need to go out and get some and try it, and you'll experience something completely different.
Listen, mate, spicy Ribena is a lot for me. It's quite adventurous for me, Ralph. So that's about as much adventure as I get, isn't it, really, Tammy?
Yep.
Anyway, okay, David. How's Christmas been for you?
Yeah, a bit of a challenge because it's been a year since mother-in-law died.
Oh, sorry.
There's just been my wife and I. I think most of the people know my wife was away for 4 months in hospital. So this year's been a bit tough, but I've got on with having a good clear out of it and having to change a lot of the things around the place. But I haven't. The only unboxing I've been doing is all my junk and downsizing on stuff. But I did get a new radio. I've got a DMR, Anytone DMR, but I'm going to definitely need some help and advice from some other users to get into it. I've not been able to get my head around it at the moment.
Now, do you know, a few Christmases ago, you bought me a DMR for Christmas, and this is a truth, and I'm sorry to say it, but you may be the same as me, Dave, because I don't think I was the only one. I'm just maybe the only fool to admit it. And I think I got to start to having a look at my DMR on Boxing Day, and I spent ages looking for a thing called a code plug. And I thought Tammy hadn't, got this for me, and it looked like I really needed this thing called a code plug. And it took, honestly, quite a while for the penny to drop that this code plug wasn't a physical thing that I was looking for. It was some software code that you have to register for. So I don't know if that's relevant to you, David, but it's the one thing that I just wasn't prepared for. It was, to be fair to me a little bit, it was in the earlier days of DMR, and there wasn't so much written about it. But anyway, I know it's something that you can't just buy a DMR radio unless it's been pre-set up without having this code plug in, without registering your call sign.
Yeah, I've registered my call sign, and it's pre-programmed with all the repeaters. I think for the whole of the UK on it. So, but obviously the zones and all the other bits, it's a lot different to just using GB3 and B.
Yeah, absolutely. I quite agree. It's certainly not like setting that up, and you don't get the sort of draining in your license, do you? Anyway, David, thank you very much. It's lovely to see you, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Right, now round to sort of west of the region now, I think, to Richard, just because you're next on the list, Richard. So if you'd like to unmute, and be nice to talk to you. Now, M6UES, is that right? You're testing me when you're not putting your call signs on the thing, so I'm having to use my memory to remember. Is that your call sign?
It's correct, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine, and see you as well.
It's quite good because I'm on my Windows 95, iOS 7 or something ridiculous like that, iPad from circa 2005, which still works for Zoom.
Wow.
So
that is good, because we're on what, like iOS 14 now or something like that?
16.
16, yeah.
It's been quite a quiet Christmas. I mean, on technical things, I suppose, with obviously Peter now gone, he came around for Christmas Day evening. Jake obviously growing up, and he actually got the latest iPhone, something that he wanted. So, I know you're on iOS 16 now. I'm as you know, I'm a Windows man myself. I'm sitting here with a cup of tea. Sorry, Ralph, I haven't got anything quite as developed as your tastes, I'm afraid. Is that okay?
Look of shock and horror on Ralph's face, I think.
Oh, well, fair enough. Okay. Unboxing wise, I'm just trying to think of. Did I get anything technical apart from Jake's face? Yeah, I did actually. I had a Ring video doorbell, first generation Series 1 from about 2016 that you introduced us to at Radioactive years and years ago, which finally gave up in November, just in time for Ring.com's Black Friday sale. So I treated us to a new, they're only on the second generation, funnily enough, one, which I wrapped up and put under the tree to us all. We unwrapped that on Christmas Day. We knew what it was anyway. Put it up yesterday, works a treat. It works better than the old one did because it's HD video, although I have to admit I don't really see the point on a doorbell having full HD video, but it works really well. So that was my unboxing. Apart from that, honest. It's been quite a quiet one. Like I say, we had the family round on Christmas Day. We haven't really done an awful lot since. We've just had the remnants of our beef, which we casserole and had this evening. That was quite nice. And I think we've now cleared all of the bits and pieces of food out, and we're going to start getting back to normality, apart from New Year's Eve, of course. So
yeah, well, that's lovely, Richard. Thank you for sharing that. It's lovely and I must say, it's lovely to see you sitting there as well with the Christmas tree in the background, and that was
your Christmas jumper on. Yeah,
it was really good.
Christmas movie, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation on my, So.
Yep.
Brilliant.
But thank you for done, and certainly getting us all together for the meal was really, really nice, and it was a really good evening. And I think I would certainly echo what someone said earlier, that you and Tammy clearly are. I know you say it's a team effort, but you're the two that spearhead this and keep us together. And thank you for what you've done, and looking forward to carrying on in 2023.
Yeah, well, it really is a pleasure. And the other thing, we must although we can take a little bit of the credit for presenting it, we mustn't forget Roger G3LDI, because he's the one who books 99% of the talks and the guests that we have, and it's quite a thing. And he's booked most of actually 2023 now as well. So it's roughly 2 talks a month. So 24 talks is quite a lot, especially when we've been doing it for a couple of years. You kind of run low on new things to talk about, subjects, which is maybe a reasonable time to actually say to you all at home as well. I mean, if you ever see a talk online that from somebody else that the club hasn't run, you're very welcome to let us know, because most speakers who give a talk online are quite open to giving that presentation to other clubs directly. And of course, the advantage of doing it directly is, instead of just looking at it on YouTube, is that people can ask questions and interact afterwards as well. So if you do ever see a good online talk, and don't be afraid to let us know, because we'll try and slot it into the programme. Anyway.
David, is there any sort of sneak preview of what's coming up later on? I mean, is Paul Money booked, for example? I mean, someone that we all quite enjoy. It's nothing to do with. It's one that's very popular.
Yes, I mean, I honestly don't know. I know I should know that, but I don't know that. I mean, I haven't got the whole year sort of programme in front of me. I only did a slide for January at the moment, but quite a few of them are on the club's Google Calendar as well. So some of them that are definite and confirmed bookings are on there. But yeah, we do try and bring a mix to you. I know Paul, he did a nice job for us really online, but he does prefer to do them for real. I know that for sure. And obviously,
got to say, yeah,
Paul is a professional broadcaster. In fact, I mean, there's no harm in sharing with you all, because you're all club members and we all kind of own the club together. He was one of the few people that we used to pay, because he was a professional speaker. And when he used to come, and we would pay travel expenses and a fee for his talk. But he is someone who rather do them live, and I'm not sure if he's still doing them online or not. But as I say, I just don't know, to be honest. I've looked down the list for the rest of the year, but he may not be booked yet. But I'll certainly mention it to Roger if he hasn't already booked him. Thanks for joining us, Richard, and love to the family.
Remember, David, is that LDI is not nearly as good looking as Tammy.
That's true.
I think I had a little bit too much to drink there, Alf.
I was going to say something like that, but I thought I'd get in trouble, so I didn't.
I'm feeling really left out. I've got a can of.
This wouldn't be like you, would it?
Pepsi. Other brands are available, but.
Yeah, that's what we do here. And
I'm feeling left out. That I should have bought a bottle of sherry.
We probably should actually, shouldn't we? When we did the party, was it last year or something like that? I think we did have a proper drink of some sherry or something like that. We
did, yeah.
Anyway, all right. Thanks for joining us, Richard. Now we're going to go still west of the county, and I believe I heard him speaking earlier before we came on air. We've got John next. I don't know your call though, John. I'm afraid. I'm really sorry. And I think you're from Cambridge area. Is that right? You'll need to unmute. Sorry, John. We've unmuted you, but you need to also unmute. Possibly pressing your space bar.
That might help.
That's better.
Okay. I think, gosh, David, we spoke at the first meeting you had when the school opened last, this year still.
I remember.
The reason I joined the club, by the way, was I think I watched one of the presentations, and was so impressed by it that I joined. I've also I'm down in Willingham, which is near Cambridge. But I've got a static caravan over at Mumsley, so I'm not far from Cromer. It's that type of area, and there's the odd chance that I could, if I'm there at the time when you have a club meeting, pop along, into Norwich and go to the club. So hopefully that will happen in the new year a bit more often anyway. But I do operate from the beach there and have great success, working DX with anywhere between 10 watts and 100 watts, especially good in Japan. It's been on 17 meters. My last contact was back in September, I think. The caravan site closes in November. So I had some great fun there from the beach. I brought some things along to show you that I've been playing. Well, I put together. I don't know if this.
I'd love to see that. Yeah.
So I think a few people probably built this QRP Labs QCX Mini. This one's for 17 meters, and it's not been used yet at all. I know it actually works. The plan was to try and improve on my very, very poor CW sending. And I'm heading off to Costa Rica in January and operate from there, basically with a piece of wire up a tree somewhere. And that all really comes about from listening to a BBC Sounds broadcast of a Ukrainian radio amateur. I don't know if people have seen this, talking to his friend in northern Canada, and basically there are recordings about the contacts they used to make, whereas the guy in Ukraine would go out into the woods around Kiev and string up some wires and use a CW contact with his friend back in Canada. And there's a wonderful thing on BBC Sounds, if anybody gets a chance to listen to it, about their story. So that sort of inspired that. I built one of these as well, which is a QDX digital transmitter. That's also from QRP Labs, and that's been working mainly on Whisper. It goes all around the world, mainly on 40 meters and 20 meters. But I think the start of the show this year was this Hermes Light 2, which is, I think you can start to get them again now from a company out in China called Maker Fabs. It's a 12-bit ADC SDR transceiver, give you about 5 watts out. And I've been using that with some software called Thetis, which is basically being developed by Anand. And this should have been a game changer, I think, to new radio amateurs all around the world, because it was retailing at about £220. It gives you 5 watts over most of the HF bands. It's extremely good, extremely good. I've got much more expensive radios than this, and it is a bargain, an absolute bargain. And with the the Anand software, the Thetis software, it's just tremendous. Anyway.
No, it sounds good. I mean, I'm sorry if you mentioned this. How much was that kit? Was it a kit, by the way?
Actually, no. This is actually, it is a very simple kit. There's 2 boards in this. There's effectively a antenna filter board. It hasn't got an ATU at all in it, but it's there's an antenna filter with all the filters that you need for the bands you're working, and the main SDR transceiver. It gives about 5 watts output, and it comes really just as 2 boards, the case, and all you have to do is put the boards in the case, slide them in, and I don't know if you can see the bottom. There's a screw there at the bottom, and you have to really put that through a heat sink with a shim for the PA transistors. So it's really very simple. There were some issues with some relays on them, which I've changed, and it's not that difficult to do. But as I say, I've got an Icon 705 upstairs, which is best part of £1,300 probably, something like that. Well, that was 220, I think 225. I think it's gone up a bit now, and I think you can just start getting them again, although they sell out very, very quickly. And that's, well, okay, it hasn't got VHF, it hasn't got UHF, but that with a computer running thetas is as good, if perhaps not slightly better with the software, to be honest, than the 705. So well worth it if you get a chance. One of those.
Yeah, well, thank you for that tip. Again, can you just tell us again for people interested? I can see by faces of the ones people I can see at home. There's obviously a lot of people watching on. There's about 40 people as well watching on BATC and Facebook. Can you tell us again the name of that product? Was
Hermes it's called the Hermes Lite 2.
Right. And you got
Hermes,
it from?
I got it. So the company's a Chinese company called Maker Fabs. If you've got that, it's just Maker Fabs.
Okay.
But why it's so successful was that, and why it's cheap against other SDRs, it uses a standard modem chip in it to do all the hard work effectively, instead of very expensive ADCs. The guy who developed it was an American. He's still around, and if you joined basically the group on Facebook or wherever, you can get feeds and you can see what people have been doing with them. But there were some issues. I think the company in China is very good. It's a very good and ethical company, actually. There were some very rapid price increases because of COVID, and they stopped selling it because it actually said on their website the price was too high. The chips were going up silly prices. So I think they're quite ethical. They have a very good relationship with the American designer of it. And it's been very, very successful, and this was recommended to me by another radio amateur who's now gone off to Wales, but was based in Cambridge, and he's an SDR designer effectively, and he said, just get it, just buy it. It's that good. I think he's got at least 2 of them, so
excellent.
I think it's worth doing.
Well, thank you very much for that tip, because I hadn't heard of it. Maybe other people hadn't heard of it as well, John, and lovely to hear that you're visiting us.
One more thing.
Yes, of course,
David, I wanted to say to Ralph, are you still a practicing doctor, Ralph? Because if you are, I just wondered if you were a practicing doctor, if you could just write me a prescription for the medication you were holding up.
No, you can get it without prescription in any good shop. I would write you a prescription, but you couldn't afford my fees.
I think, John, to answer your question, I think he's very much practicing, actually. It's still to get it right. But anyway, thank you very much, John. Lovely to see you. And good luck with all your lovely de-expeditions, using that small kit as well with your overseas trip.
Yeah, it was G4NEY, David.
Sorry,
G4
yeah.
November.
And I do remember meeting you, because I think you had a relative or someone who was interested in, it was either Sinclair or something like that. There was, wasn't it? I do remember meeting you at one of the club meetings. Anyway, as I said, we will be meeting at least twice a month and occasionally 3 times a month, depending on the way the Wednesdays fall. So we hope to see you one of the times you come over to Norfolk for your caravan.
Good to see you. Take care.
Thanks, and you. Right, Steve, G3EVA, round to you. Yes, wake up. Put that drink down, or tell us what you're drinking. Hi, how are you?
Well, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you fine.
Great, yeah, I've got something I'm drinking tonight, which would probably intrigue and bring back memories probably for Ralph, because there's a Scottish drink that I've seen them drink on some of the programmes. That's the stuff. Yeah.
Oh dear. I'm not sure we're giving the right advice out here, Tammy.
But I've also got some nibbles tonight. This
nice.
is a very nice thing. It's chicken wrapped around a bone. Come get it. Yeah. and it's not actually mine; it's his.
It's Alfie. Oh yes.
It is. I haven't actually been unboxing anything today. I've been boxing something up. I've built this, which is a treble booster.
All right. Now we should tell everybody who doesn't already know that you are a very keen guitarist. You play in a band regularly.
Indeed. The treble booster was it was a thing made by a company called Dallas Arbiter. It was called the Range Master, and all the best guitarists in the 60s had these things. And they're now, the originals are now going for around about £2,000. So it uses an OC44 germanium transistor. So that's what the inside of it looks like. There's the battery. It's a 12-volt battery. And I spent a couple of hours putting it together. I've been meaning to do it for probably about the last 6 years. I've had the kit in a box. I've picked up all the bits and pieces. Somebody gave me about 20 OC 44s and 81s a few years back. So I've been collecting the parts and popped them, just gone through my workshop, picking up bits and pieces, putting them in a Tupperware container. And I didn't have any work to do today, so I thought, I'm going to make that. So I did.
So is it what does it actually do? It's probably an effects pedal, is it, of some kind?
It's a single stage amplifier is basically all it is. And it distorts, which you probably wouldn't think is a good idea, but it is. That's the sound of Brian May and that type of guitarist.
Because when you held that up a minute ago, there didn't seem to be too much inside. Is that right?
No, there's not a lot inside at all. It's very simple. It's just a single transistor.
Yeah.
A couple of film, I think a 10 nanofarad capacitors. And an electrolytic, and basically that's all you got in there really. And there's most of the switching is done on the which side are we? That side there. There's when you plug the jack in, the switching for the power is done on the two closest to the earthy side. So what happens is you plug your jack into it, and it shorts out the power supply, the neutral side of it, the negative side, and then makes it all work. There's an LED in there as well, which indicates the thing is on, and a volume control, which tells you how much, or gives you the amount of distortion. There's a foot pedal there, which switches the effects on and off, and also switches the LED on and off to show that it's working. That's basically all there is to it.
Fantastic. I tell you what, as well, your dog's doing a fantastic job at organising the camera, because it was zooming in and out. Then I don't know if you realise that, Steve. You must have some.
You know what? I've just noticed this on an iPad. I bought a new iPad. Then if I move, it follows me.
Yeah.
Weird, isn't it?
Come on, it's Alfie, isn't it?
Alfie, yes. Alfie is a cameraman.
Exactly. We can't see the two at once, so I'm sure it's him doing that. That's really impressive.
So if you need a cameraman for the show, he's your guy. Alfie, come and say hello to everybody. This way. These are his favourite treats. These are his bakers that he got for Christmas. He'll do anything for these. There. Yep. There's a good boy. What's that? Up there. Yeah, come fetch.
I'm amazed at the camera work. That is really quite clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've heard of this effect actually on some of the new iPads, but I've not seen it work quite like that. That's really impressive.
Now, if you move to one side, the camera follows
you.
Then you go this way.
Yeah.
It goes back.
Yeah, no, I've heard of it, and it's just really. It was a really good demonstration of it, though. Wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
I don't know if it works up and down as well, does it? Yes, it does.
Anyway, excellent. All right, well, Steve, thanks for sharing that project with us as well.
No problem.
It's all electronics.
Catch you all later.
I'm glad
Merry
that
Christmas,
you can still
everybody.
get. Sorry, yeah, beg your pardon. I'm glad that you can still get those old germanium transistors as well.
Yeah, I've got a nice little supply of those.
But it brings back memories for me. I don't know if it'll mean much to Tammy, but OC71 geraniums, as we sometimes call them. Yeah, germanium transistors, and yeah, they were the earliest type of transistors before we went to silicon transistors. You see, but they were. Anyway, lovely. Thanks very much, Steve. Cheers,
Ralph.
Just, if we can go.
Cheers, Ralph.
Yeah, cheers, Ralph. Yeah, great. Look what you're doing, Ralph. I think you better come down here, Ralph, actually, because we're going to need some medical care at this rate.
This is 75% proof. If you look at about 78, actually, at 78% proof.
Well, the only problem with that is it won't be as strong as the drink from the person that we're next going to see, as I'm sure his bottle will say more than 78% proof on it. Kevin, M0UJD. Hello, Kev.
Evening. Oh, let me turn that down. Get rid of that. I trust everyone's well. Well, for starters, Steve, your iPad, it's called Center Stage, as what Apple call it, and it's really very clever. It's a very wide-angle front view camera, which zooms in on you, and like you say, as you move around, unlike mine, it follows you. It's quite a way it'll follow you as well. Really clever stuff. And for Ralph, well, you saw one of them. This is the one there we go. He's got that in his hand. This is the one that I've been drinking, rather enjoy. That you'll probably puke all over. Yeah, I got the disbelief.
Kahlua.
Yeah.
Didn't I buy you a drink the other day with one of those?
You did in a pub, which was Kahlua. Yeah.
In Scotland, we kill rats with that stuff.
You probably kill rats with this stuff as well, to be fair.
Oh.
No, we kill Englishmen with that.
Yeah, that would figure. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I haven't really got much to tell you or show, because there's someone else on here that could show anything that I'm going to show a heck of a lot better than I can. But I've just now started to. It's really annoying. I've got my phone in my pocket with this call on, and I can hear my own voice, and I can't turn it down any further. I've just started looking at Apple HomeKit, and I must apologise, because the incident earlier when Malcolm was on was my fault, I'm afraid, where it all came up to a screen recording or a screen broadcast. But unlike James, who's got a million of these devices all connected up and all working, I'm just now starting to experiment with it and learn about it. I was going to do a bit of a demo, but I think it's probably best not, to be fair. So I will shut this up and stop it echoing at me. That's better. And I'll leave you to it. Back to you then, David.
All right, Kevin. So that was Kahlua, a coffee
liqueur.
We got some of that in the fridge.
Have we?
Yeah.
I use, what do I have? Oh, Dow Egberts. That's my coffee. The liqueur, not quite the same, I guess, is it? Right, and I've got a message from Julian. We've got you, Julian. I've got a puzzle I want to show you, and we'll come to you. If it's all right, we'll just carry on this. If nothing else, I won't forget anybody then, as we used to. Sometimes people
order.
move around. So now next we've got Bob, G6PWS. Now you're down in Hertfordshire, I believe, Bob.
We can't hear you, Bob.
You need to unmute, I'm afraid. Press the space bar, maybe.
Do you want me to?
That's it.
All right, there you go. We still can't.
Oh, we still can't hear you. I don't know why. Has your mic on? You are unmuted, but your mic, whatever you're using for a mic, is possibly not powered. Yeah, we could see you, but you are unmuted. We've got a control panel here that we can see you're unmuted, but I'll tell you what, Bob, don't worry. We'll come back to you, because we definitely want to talk to you.
If you go into the bottom left-hand corner of your Zoom, I don't know if you can see my screen here, where there's a microphone there, and if you press the little up arrow, you can see there what
microphone you're using.
So you can just check.
So we're just showing you that on screen now.
It's the little thing there, and just go up.
Yeah,
we can hear you now. We can hear you, Bob.
Oh, I was on that.
Oh.
Good. No, we can hear you fine now. Sorry. Hello.
All right, gotcha. Yeah, no, we didn't do much here. Happy seasonal greetings to everybody around up there.
And to you.
Nice weather down here, as you know, but I did make it up to the party and enjoyed myself with Alan. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone. So lucky enough, I've got a Anytone radio. Where is it? Up on my face somewhere? I don't know. Over here, up there. Which what I've done is I've sent you the link, David, to Moonraker, where the codec is, so you can actually download it off their site.
Oh, good. That'll help David, maybe.
Yeah. That's it.
All right, David. I'll forward that to you if that's a help, David.
That's on the Facebook one, I think. I saw it.
Oh, on the Facebook one. Okay.
I'll tell you what, Bob. If you copy and paste that into the Zoom one, then David should be able to click on it from in there. It doesn't matter right now, but there's a chat in the Zoom you can add it to.
But don't worry if
It
not.
doesn't matter right now,
We'll
but
download
we
it if
can-
not, and then we can send
Yeah.
it to David if you haven't got it from there.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, no problems. I can. Oh, chat. Here it is. Yeah, right. I can put it in to type the message in. Just go like that. Is that there? Will you be able to see that?
Yes, it is actually.
Yep,
Yeah, there
so
we are. We've
everyone-
got the
yep,
link.
so
Lovely.
David will be able
That's
to
where I
click
get
on
mine
that.
from. When I download the latest one, is out now, and it gives you all the contact lists all around the country, all around the world, everywhere. Very good, and it doesn't take long to program it into the system and get it up and running. And as I say, I enjoy it immensely.
Is
No
that your first DMR, Bob?
Yes, yeah.
Because, I mean, maybe it's different now, or maybe I was just thick, but when I sat down, so it was several Christmases ago now, many Christmases ago, probably 4, and I literally was looking for a physical code plug, because I read somewhere, online that I needed this thing, and I thought it was something physical, like a memory card or something, but it wasn't.
Yeah, no, mine is like nearly 3 years old. I bought it from Moonraker.
Ah, right. Okay.
And it was Dean Jackson that was there. He's a friend of mine, amateur. We belonged to the Wellington Hatfield Amateur Radio Club, and he pointed it to me and got me the file, and I've been getting it ever since.
Yeah, that is good. That's a really useful tip.
Yeah, you just got to look in the blog spot, go on to Moonraker, go on to the blog spot, and then you'll see anytime files. Then you can download it quite freely and use it.
All right, well, thanks. You've shared that with the group, and hopefully David's got that now. I think you gave us a thumbs up, David, that you got hold of that, I think.
Apart from that,
right, thank you.
That's my, I don't know.
Old speckled hen.
Old speckled hen, yeah, we could just see that. Yeah.
Right. All right. Bit of carrot crunch.
Oh, golden hen, that was. Did you see that? No, it doesn't. No, it said old golden hen.
Oh, golden hen.
Yeah, where are we? Up there somewhere. There. Old golden hen.
Oh.
And for afters,
Spitfire.
Yeah, Spitfire. I do like meow.
Do you know what? I tell you what, if Ralph hadn't have started us off on this bad side, we would never be talking about alcohol at this point, I'm sure. He's smiling. Okay.
All right, thanks very
Bob,
much.
well, no, thank you. And I must thank you as well. You were very kind. You gave us both a gift at that party, which we should never do. We didn't open it until Christmas. And Tammy not only opened hers yesterday, but started it today. And if we can just show you. Well, you talk about it, Tammy. What gave you?
Well, let me. I've done a time lapse video of of the little gift.
We should explain that way back when it was all strange and nobody was going anywhere, Bob and lots of people suddenly discovered that one of Tammy's loves is Lego and making some quite intricate Lego kits and things. And Bob sent us a pile of Lego then, didn't he? And then at Christmas, you take it over.
Yep, here we go. There's no sound to this video, but I feel like I want to put the Benny Hill theme tune to it or something.
We'll get
so here we
taken
go.
off.
This was this afternoon.
Go talk us through it then.
I'm putting bricks together.
We probably could be taken off for that as well. They're very clever, these bots. Wow. So in real term, how long was this? 2 hours or something?
Oh no, it was about I don't know, maybe half an hour or 3/4 of an hour. I'm not sure about it. The time lapse video is 39 seconds, but I don't know if you can work it back from that. I don't know.
Does it make it look easy? Oh, brilliant!
And here we go. I took a picture. There we go. There are the dudes all done. And I've actually got them here, so let me show you. So thank you very much, Bob, for that. I don't want to break it.
It gave a little girl a lot of pleasure this afternoon to do that. I could see it. She did.
There's
it gave
one
hours
them.
of fun.
And then there's like a little jet ski there. Oh, I don't know what camera I'm on. You can't really see it very well.
Hold it onto here.
Yeah, hold it on there. There you go, a little jet ski. And then a rescue boat. Cool. And then there's the truck and trailer to take it there. So, yep.
Lovely. A lot of fun.
Very cool. Thank you.
She does love Lego.
All things to get a small mind going.
Yep, that's right.
Good job you were down there in Hertfordshire. No, thank you ever so much, Bob. Very kind. I haven't made a start with mine yet, but I will do. And I'll certainly mention it on the programme when I have got round to it. Thank you. So, anyway, thanks very much for joining us tonight and sharing what your favourite tipples are as well. Thank you. Right, now they've done musical chairs now, and it's organised. It's changed all the order of things.
Is it?
Who haven't we talked to?
No.
Henry is next,
Henry,
I think.
yeah.
M0ZAE. Hello, Henry.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. And, well, what have I done? Not a lot. Chilled out. My typical, just to keep things a few on the sober, is coffee.
Yes.
So, sorry about that, folks.
A nice cappuccino or something like that.
Well, that depends on whether the gizmo works or not. Otherwise, it's going to be a straightforward latte.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
So, what have I done? No, today the exciting bit was listening in on that HARP experiment. Was it today or yesterday? That they were doing the ARRL and Alaska was setting up. I've never heard anything quite like it, so that was pretty cool. But that's the only interesting thing. Other than that, it's been very quiet and very chilled out.
Can you tell us a bit more about that? Because I believe this is something I was deputy newsreader at the weekend, and I read the GBTRS news on Sunday, Christmas Day, and then we talked about it on there as one of the things that was happening this week. So can you just tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, as far as I understand it, and I don't really understand it particularly well, they were just basically going to be pounding a lot of RF energy up into the sky and bounce it off meteors coming back, as the best I could understand it. Couldn't see it anywhere on or hear it on my radios, but I did get it on Twente, and I got the what I assumed was the outward signal, a kind of chirping thing. And on the waterfall, I saw a few random blips, which again is what I would assume to get. So I was not really able to contribute to their research, but it sounded interesting and was worth listening to. As I say, I've never tried anything like it before, so that was a bit of fun.
Lovely. Yeah, it does sound interesting. Well, thanks very much for joining us. You're sort of from quite a way over, probably Milton Keynes-ish area? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, lovely of you to join us. Thanks very much, Henry. Cheers. Okay, next to Tony then. G0MQG. I felt like saying them from G7URP. It's just the way it flows, isn't it? You don't often use the call sign in that. So, Tony, if you'd like to unmute, and we'll have a chat with you, if that's all right.
I think you just muted yourself again. Let me just...
We've unmuted you from our side, but there we are.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Wow, wonderful. Right, what have I been up to? Friday before Christmas, I went out and had a lunch with a couple of mates of mine. One was a lifelong friend. We were at school together, and I'm 68 now, so that's a long time. Had lunch and one or two drinks, as you do. Saturday was fairly quiet. Spent that at home. Sunday, Christmas Day, we went to, I think you just walked in here, and I'm unmuted, so anything you say will get heard. You're letting the cat out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Sunday, we done something we'd never done before. We had Christmas lunch out. We went to a brewer's fair in Thorpe. There's myself, Jackie, Marie, my youngest daughter, Sarah, my oldest daughter, her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's son. There's quite a few of us there. And we had a nice Christmas lunch. That was the first time I've ever done that. I think it might be the last year too, because Sarah's apparently going away next year. So that's that one. Boxing Day, we done what we normally do on Christmas Day. We had lunch here. I'm sitting in my kitchen at the moment, and you can just see the boiler and the next tap behind me over my shoulder there. We had lunch here, which is what we normally do on Christmas Day. And in answer to Ralph as to what people have been drinking,
Malbec.
well, you can read the label.
Oh, it's another one.
Malbec.
Malbec.
Yeah, if I can get this in the
If you move it in front of your face, that'll be the way to get it in. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
And
struggling
just
with
turn it the other way. That's
delay.
it.
Ah, that's it. That's what we're trying to do.
Malbec.
Nice bottle of Malbec, which, if you look, is not yet opened.
Ah.
But maybe
Ralph
I'll have
looks
a glass or
horrified.
two later. So, yeah.
Crime!
The crime, he's saying.
Trying not to open it. It will be later, Ralph. If you'd like to come down here, I know you're a long way from there, but if you'd like to come around here, then you're more than welcome to come and have a glass with me.
Is this a new thing, Malbec, or not, or is it just me being very ignorant? Because I've heard of Merlots and things like that, but I haven't heard of a Malbec. Is it recent, relatively recent, or not?
Well, I'm not a great connoisseur of wine, so I'm not really sure myself. I enjoy a glass of red wine occasionally, but I'm not a great connoisseur, so I don't know. I don't know its history.
No.
Other things I've been doing. When I went to the Handfest in October, I picked up something I'd wanted to do for quite some time, and that was restore an R1155 receiver used by the RAF during World War II. And I got one. I sent you a couple of pictures. It doesn't matter if you don't show them. Now I've made a start on that. It's going to be a long-term project because most of the internal wiring is rubber, PVC not being around in those days, I assume. And you've only got to get a piece in your fingers and just do that with it. And the insulation just crumbles off. So it's all got to be rewired, several capacitors leaked. So that's a long-term project I'm doing. I also, a few years ago, I bought 2 of those QCX transceivers. That must be 3 or 4 years ago now. And I'm ashamed to say, I put the 2 bags of bits in a biscuit tin, put them under the bench in the workshop, and I thought to myself, right, well, as soon as I get a moment, I'll make a start on them. They're still in the biscuit tin, so I haven't done that yet. But they will get done. What else have we got to tell you? I took Jackie down to the city today. She wanted a new phone for Christmas. It's her idea to get it on today, the 28th, not mine. I would have bought it before Christmas, but that's what she said.
So you might get a bit of a deal, mightn't you?
That was the thing behind it. She thinks like that. So, yeah.
Okay.
So he got a new phone. I've been playing around with it, trying to get it working how she would like it. I've probably got to be sitting there the rest of the evening doing that. I haven't got it right yet. I'm okay with RF electronics, but not quite so au fait with digital. Anyway, I'm sure I'll sort it eventually. So that's really what I've been up to over the last 2 days. Tomorrow, be back to normal. Some of you will know I've been doing quite a bit of DIY work in the house, to the extent that we're currently on the bathroom, and I should be working on that tomorrow and probably up through the weekend, and attempt to try and get that finished. But I shan't finish the DIY then, because the next thing is a short hallway from the toilet to the living room. And then I've got the living room floor to do. And when I've done that, I've got the kitchen. So there's a lot to be done.
It sounds like you're going to be very busy, Tony. Thank you for sharing that, and thanks also for, I know that you give people a lot of help with fixing things as well throughout the year, and I really appreciate that as well on behalf of everybody you've helped through the year. So thanks very much.
Okay.
Lovely. Right, we're nearly there. We're going to now talk to Paul, M1AFQ. I still want to say my call sign again. Paul, and you're unmuted, so go ahead, please. Good to see you. Can't hear you, though. Paul, can't hear you, but you're unmuted, so it's not that. So maybe, as Tammy said earlier, if you look in the bottom left of your Zoom screen, I don't know what you're using this on, though, so we have to be a bit careful saying that.
Yeah.
If you're on a conventional computer, on the bottom left of the app, there should be an option where you can choose which microphone source you use. Because we can't hear you, Paul. Can you hear me, Paul? Thumbs up.
I'm not sure if he can.
I'm not sure Paul can hear us.
No.
but I can't hear him at all.
Oh,
He's connecting to audio.
on to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Paul, not quite yet, but we might be able to get you soon. Oh, no, he's moved. Okay. I'll tell you what, we'll come back to you, Paul. Hopefully you'll get that sorted, because we've got one more person on the list who we haven't spoken to yet, and who sent us a message saying you've got something as well. So, Julian, 2E0DJR. I hope I got that call right as well. Hello, Julian.
As if you don't know my call sign.
I know, but I've got a couple of hundred to remember, and it can be quite difficult, I promise you.
Yeah. My son bought me something different for Christmas. It's actually a classic. I don't know if you can see that. Classic wooden puzzle.
Oh, a 3D. Oh, yes, row life.
Yeah. I think Tammy might like something like this, and I've got the picture of it. That's the finished.
Oh, wow.
That's the finished article. It comes in a laminate board, and it's laser cut. Just show you one of those.
Wow.
That is, I've never seen anything like this before.
No.
I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I'm into ships and stuff like that.
And is there, presumably, Julian, there's lots of sheets of that, is there?
There's three sheets of it.
Wow.
All that, and it's very thinly laminated. I don't know if you can see the lam.
Yeah. So it's like plywood or something, is it?
Yeah. It's really good.
That does look fantastic.
Really good.
And that will keep you busy for a while, I'm guessing.
That'll keep me busy, yeah. It's from Rollis.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yeah, it does look fantastic. And I mean, for Tammy as well, it's keeping you busy with things. I did actually get you something this year, didn't I? Now, what did I call it? You tell you they were called? Book Nook. They're called a Book Nook, and actually it was made by that same firm.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean, Julian?
Yeah.
And they're things that you can put in a bookshelf next to a row of end of the books, and you can make it up, and you've got a magic shop. Do you want to say
Light it
about
up. Yeah, I should have brought it.
You never thought of bringing that?
No, I've got it at home.
So I'd never heard of that firm
It's the same
either.
company though, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's different sheets that you can glue together. So I'm looking forward to making
No,
that.
I've never seen one like this.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
No, brilliant. Well, and it's a bit different from electronics and things all the time as well, so it's good.
Oh,
isn't it?
yeah. I'll show you something different, yeah.
Lovely. Well, thank you ever so much.
Very interesting. Yeah, no problems.
Really does look interesting. Thank you, Julian, and good to see you. Paul, let's see if hopefully we can get you now to make up everybody. Paul, can you hear me? M1AFQ? I don't know that Paul can hear us.
No.
Can you stick your thumb up, Paul, M1AFQ, if you can hear me?
He can't see you. Stick your thumb up, just to warn you.
Oh.
Just on a different
It's
note,
odd.
Mike G8EY says that Malbec has been around from the 16th century.
See, I told you, relatively new.
Yeah.
I've just never heard of it. And I'm Sam, you know I don't drink really, and generally, and it is just the standard ones, red, white, or things like that I would know. But I never heard of Malbec until recently. It feels like, anyway.
Yes, I can hear you.
Paul.
Yeah, I can hear you.
We can now hear you, but we couldn't a minute ago.
I can hear you, yes.
Good. Okay, brilliant. Well, we can now hear you.
Hear you.
Yep, lovely.
I've got my thumb up on Zoom.
Yep.
Yep.
No, we can hear and see you now. Honestly, it's fine. So it's lovely to see you.
I'm not sure he can hear us, actually.
I wonder if there's a big delay.
Maybe.
Paul? Paul?
Oh, I don't know.
There might be a huge delay.
I think there might be, yeah.
Paul needs some of this.
I'm just wondering, I wonder if Paul is watching on something like Facebook or BATC, which would give you the delay.
Yeah, well, it was open, but I've got the Zoom on my phone, so...
Right. Paul, what I need to tell you is that you need to listen to the sound from Zoom.
That, but I'm out of date with you.
Yeah.
Because on Zoom...
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, it is. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. I tell you what, this reminds me of
I can hear you.
I think it was a Two Ronnie sketch years ago where the question followed the person from the question before. Everybody knows what I'm talking. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, Tammy, but there was a thing on Two Ronnies years ago where it was like a spoof of Mastermind, and they had their specialist subject was answering questions on the question before.
Right.
And it reminds me a bit of that. Paul, for you,
ask Paul a question and then
what we just need to explain to Paul, you do if you're watching on BATC or Facebook, but you're listening on, if you're on Zoom, basically you need to listen and talk and watch on Zoom. And the reason for that is that Zoom is effectively live within a few milliseconds. But unfortunately, the video stream that we send out to BATC and Facebook is delayed, not by us, but by the systems that compress the video. I don't want to make this too vulnerable. Right, now you can hear me live then.
I can hear you, yeah.
Good, excellent. Well, we can hear you now, and it's just that there was a long delay before, so no problem.
That's because I was watching you on the other one and it wasn't going through.
And I never thought of that happening, but that's why. So it's just that BATC and Facebook, if you notice, it's probably 30 seconds to a minute. It's called latency, and it's just the digital world that we're in. So I'm really sorry.
I'm just on Zoom now.
Yep, and that's perfect. Lovely to see you.
Just to let you know that before my problems last year, Drambuie was one of my favourites. And I'm drinking at the moment very, very cold tea.
Oh, no. You let the side down. Oh, and Ralph's, yeah.
There was something else I was going to tell you, but I can't remember what it was now. My memory's gone. I'm just happy that I'm here, actually, David.
Of course.
Because it was almost a year ago when all this happened to me, and I honestly didn't think I would get here. So I'm really happy. And as for Christmas, I've had a brilliant Christmas. I've had my stepson, his wife, and the 2 grandkids down. And that's been amazing. My stepdaughter, with her 2 boys, came down just before Christmas for a night or 2 because she was actually working. But we all got together then and we've had two Christmas dinners. And although I don't eat that well, I've had an absolutely brilliant time.
Lovely.
And I've loved every minute of it. So, yeah, Happy New Year to everybody.
That's wonderful to hear, Paul. Yeah, we know you've had a lot of health challenges in the last year. A lot of us are very concerned. Well, all the members who know you as well were very concerned as well. So it is wonderful, and it's all about people getting together. And I'm glad that you've had a lovely Christmas like that. You deserve it, and for all you've gone through with your health and things. So, well done, Paul.
I've had quite a few of the guys come down and see me and spend a bit of time with me. And I'll tell you what, David, that's been an absolute godsend. You can't believe when... I mean, I can get out in the car. I do take the missus shopping now and again. But we have to plan the journey a bit because I'm on water tablets and you've probably got some idea what they're like. So I have to plan not to take them for a little while. But I've had 1 or 2 of the guys have come down and helped me out and just sat and had a coffee. And it's been amazing. And I'm gradually getting back into the morse. I've been doing a little bit, but I ain't done anything this last few days because of Christmas and the kids and everybody being here. But just before that, I was knocking out 5, 6, 7, 10 a day, and I was thoroughly enjoying it. So hopefully I'm getting back into it. My heart surgeon told me, David, that I was okay. I said, well, everybody keeps telling me that. I said, I don't believe you. So he opened his screen up and showed me exactly what was wrong with me, what they've done to me, and what I've got wrong with me now. I now believe him. And I'm trying to enjoy my life now. I just hope I've got enough to see me through a few more years.
I'm sure you have. Well, I'm glad to hear that the companionship and friendship that you have through the club as well has helped with that. That's and lovely that all the people that have come to visit you and the messages and things that we've had for you. And it's nice to hear you on the radio as well. I've been on a net, I think, every day the last 3 days, from Christmas Day and then the 2 days afterwards. And you've been on each of those nets, so it was really good to hear you. And it's nice to hear, the radio is a good way, isn't it, of keeping in touch.
Yeah. I prefer the HF and the 3W, but I do go on these.
Yeah.
And have a chat. I don't like the nets too much, David, but I do get on them and have a chat now and again, just to sort of show my face,
Yeah, well, they're great for local contact, aren't they?
Yeah.
Lovely. All right. Well, brilliant. Thank you ever so much for joining us tonight. You're our kind of last person on there, but it's really good that we've had, I think, 12 or 13 or 14 people joining us on Zoom, including Kevin, who's gone now, and a couple of others I think have had to go. But thank you to all of you for joining us, not just tonight, and all of you, of course, watching at home on BATC as well on Facebook. I did get a message, by the way. We got a message on BATC from Roger G3LDI, which I realised was about 30 minutes ago, and it says, "Don't think Oscar Peterson would be impressed." Now, I don't know if any of you can think what was going on half an hour ago. Can any of you throw a light into what he might have meant? Because I realise it's completely out of context now.
Do you know who Oscar Peterson is?
I don't think it's who I think it is. I just can't think what perspective, what we were talking about. Does anybody at home know? Anybody on Zoom or anything like that know? Or Roger, maybe you could just put a note in there.
Peterson?
But I can't think what we were talking about that would have made it relevant. But anyway, sorry, Roger, that we missed that message earlier on.
He was a Canadian jazz pianist.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of the music connections, though.
Was it when I said about Benny Hill?
Oh, maybe.
The amplifier thingy.
What Steve had. Possibly.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. Okay, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you, Henry.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks very much for that. We have just got one little thing to show you ourselves. We don't want to be too self-indulgent here. Tammy, as you must know from previous programmes and things that we've done, our wildlife Spring Watch and that sort of thing that we've done. Spring View. Oh, had to change the name just in case. Very interested in wildlife that we're lucky to have around us where we live here in the country. And but it's always been a bit frustrating that the pictures from her wildlife camera that you may remember we showed probably a couple of years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that we
the
got
one with the batteries in the...
That has batteries and a memory card, and you can't see anything live or anything on it. So I've been looking around on the market for something that we could possibly connect up live, a bit like James, but we've got very long garden, cables wouldn't really suitable. And we did find it, or I found a system, and this is what I got Tammy for Christmas. So this is the camera. If we could just show this.
This is one
Tammy.
of the cameras.
Yeah.
Do you want to show it?
Now, what's special about it, and I just want to show you at home, because you may not know about this. This is after quite a lot of research. It's made by a firm called Eufy, but actually behind them is a company called Anker, A-N-K-E-R, and you may have seen their cables and things available on Amazon and on their own websites and places like that as well. So that's the side view. This is the front view. You've got a camera at the top. You've got some sensors. The little white bit there, that's actually a spotlight which lights up white so that you can light up something at night to see the colour, because obviously at night normally you've just got infrared and you've just got black and white pictures. There's not much else to it. A little button on the top and a little hidden port underneath to charge it with, and that's it.
And
but
it's got a tripod mount.
Tripod mount on the back. Yeah, a normal standard tripod thread. And what's special about it is that is everything. It's completely wireless. You do have a little base station that goes with it, but it's got a huge range, isn't it? I mean, how many metres have we got a range out of that? In our back garden, which has not got anything in between it, to be fair.
50 to
60 metres of line of sight. So the great thing for Tammy's, you probably guessed now, is that you can put a simple mount on that. You've made some mounts with some Velcro and with some tie wraps, and wrap it around a tree, and we can start watching wildlife live. And also, there's the actual base station stores the memory, and you don't have to subscribe as well. As another thing, a lot of these systems you have to pay subscription to store recordings, and you don't have to with this. So it does seem to be good. It's early days because you only got it Christmas Day, but
Santa brought it.
Santa brought it, absolutely. But it does look rather good, and in fact we've already got some pictures from it. So back from the back of our garden.
Yeah, it's just a couple. We've got a baby deer at the moment, which we happened to see the other night, and so we've been wanting to see it again. But this is just a quick 10-second clip from the back. There's actually 3 deer here, but none of them are the baby deer, but they were just wandering around our back garden the other day. As you do. Oh.
And this was just...
That was just in the backyard. And this is another clip that we had this morning, wasn't it?
Mm.
And it is Mummy and our baby deer.
And that was just laying on some hay that we put down yesterday.
It was just, I think it was eating the hay rather than laying on it.
Yeah.
So, because we have another proper CCTV here as well, though, because we could match up the time codes, we could actually, I'll just show you this one, which is our main CCTV. We could actually then go back and look at the times, and we knew that they were going to be walking past this camera at that time. So there's Mum just walking past, and then the baby.
So for those of you who've been to ours, you'll know DCP, and there was a little baby.
Hopping along.
And that was all, this was the CCTV security system at DCP.
And that was this morning.
Lovely. So that it's enabled us, though, hasn't it, to watch things live and without having to go out and get the card, probably disturb and make human type smells and things around and everything else. So it's quite nice. It's probably not as good as wiring stuff, but it is incredibly more flexible because you could just put it wherever you want.
And you can move them
and
as
it's
well.
that small. And the battery, we should say as well, it claims a rechargeable battery, 180 days, which is hard to imagine that lasting 6 months. I think for the amount we'll be watching it, probably will go down.
I think all the live viewing I'm going to be doing, it won't last that long.
But there's an infrared sort of PIR type sensor there as well, which I didn't show. It's sort of behind this little screen. Anyway, just thought you might be interested. I know a lot of you loved the stuff that James and Lynn did with their cameras, which were sort of hardwired. But this, we hope, will give us a flexibility of moving the camera around when we think we've found out where the sort of animals go without disturbing them.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Right, well, I think that's pretty much everything. We've spoken to everybody. Let me just check. Yeah, we've spoken to everybody. Is there anything that any of you would like to just add or say or anything like that? Okay, Tony, we go to Tony. You just wave if you do.
Yeah, just unmute yourself and then...
Tony, you need to unmute. One more. Press it one more time, please. It's still muted.
Hang on, let me...
I think it mutes and then unmutes. We've now sent you a message. Yes, that works.
Right, can you hear me now?
We can.
Right, wonderful. Yeah, to Steve, G3EVA, further to your mentioning germanium transistors in that little device you had, I've got in my workshop, amongst my stock of components, some LC71s. If they're any use to you, you're more than welcome to them. I can bring them up to the club at the next time we meet at the school. Are they any use to you, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I'd appreciate those. Put them to one side. I'll even come and collect them if you wanted to.
No, unless you want them urgently, I'm happy to bring them to the club on the 11th.
No, I don't need them urgently, but I am thinking of making another couple of these. I've got a friend who lives down the road who, when I showed it to him today, he said, "Oh, I wish I'd have one of those." So that'd be nice to make him one.
I'll sort them all out. I'm not exactly sure how many I've got. I was given them years ago by a friend who's now sadly silent key. But I've never used them, and I'm unlikely to be honest with you. I've never, in all the years I've been repairing things for people, have I been had anyone bring me something with germanium transistors in it. So, yeah, I'll bring them to the club on the 11th, and if you're there, then you can take them. I'm not exactly sure how many I've got, but there's a few there anyway.
Lovely.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for that, Tony. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problems.
Thank you, Tony. And Steve, while you're still there, Steve, Roger has come back and said that when he said, "Don't think Oscar Peterson would be impressed," he's now replied and said he was talking about the distortion device that Steve was describing. But that was, I guess, a lot of the music of the time, wasn't it? These wah-wah pedals and things like that.
Well, this type of device was used on Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones, Keith Richards. That was brand new when he did that song.
Yeah, and I guess they probably didn't play as a support act for Oscar Peterson. So that's probably...
Oscar who?
Well, there we go. And on that bombshell...
Doesn't he play a piano or something?
He was. I can't remember what it just said now. It's some jazz. I can't remember what.
I think we're talking about a slight generation difference.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's not a proper musician if he plays the piano.
Oh, can of worms.
Yeah, let's get cut while we're ahead. All right, thank you very much, Steve.
Where is Roger tonight, by the way?
He's on. He's watching us on BATC tonight. Is Roger?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
He doesn't trust Facebook, does he?
Well,
Or
he
Zoom?
doesn't have to, on Zoom. I don't know. I think he's been on Zoom.
He
'Cause
has
we've
been
had
on
meetings
Zoom,
and committee
yeah.
meetings and things on Zoom.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But I thought he believed that takes your soul away if you use Zoom.
I don't know. Oh, let's not.
I think he's just jealous of my organ.
Oh, right. I think that is it.
Anybody got anything else
Yeah.
that is sensible to say before you go?
Tony, we come to
Yes,
you for some sense and sobriety.
Yeah, can you hear me, David?
We can, yes.
Yeah, I was interested in your camera gizmo. I've been looking for something like that because I can't see some of my antennas from the house, and it would save me going out in the rain. Could you either drop me an email or tell me where you got it from?
Yeah, sure. I'll drop you an email with a link to it. It's probably the best way. But the company is Eufy, EUFY, which I know sounds like one of those strange companies that, and I'm always wary of spending reasonable money on things like that if they're not going to be around to support their apps and things. But this is backed by a company called Anchor, and they are good. I mean, they've had stuff for many years.
They do lots of different versions of the cameras. Yeah. This is just one particular one that
I ordered this from Amazon because I think that's one of their main outlets. There's a shop, a Eufy shop, EUFY, if you type that into Amazon. But I know also they have other retailers direct and things like that. Not Norfolk, as far as I know, nothing local. But it really is good.
David, is it waterproof?
It is waterproof, yes, I should have said. Yeah, it's IP67, which is pretty...
You say there's a base station with it. Where do you plug that into?
You have to plug that into the wired Wi-Fi. Wired internet, the base station. But
is it plugged into the wired?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's wired, okay.
It's wired.
Into the back of the router?
Well, somewhere on, it needs to go back plugged into the internet. I don't think it will connect my Wi-Fi. But the important thing is that this bit is wireless, and we've put it in our little summer house because it's in the middle of our back of our garden, and we figured that would give us the most optimum range really around. But we've been amazed. I mean, if you know our place, a lot of you have been here for various events, and if you think about the summer house in the back garden, which is in the middle of the garden between the house and the end of the garden, but we've put one of the cameras now in the front garden, which is where we got that deer shot this morning.
Before the sort of cut through to here.
So we reckon that it's 50 or 60, well, did we say 30 or 40 metres at least? Although it's fairly clear outside, it's certainly not, it's not a smaller distance, even though there's no external antennas. That is it. That is everything. And they claim 180-day life. Heaven knows if that's really true. But even if it's just a month, frankly, for the convenience, the fact that you can look at it live.
The app is really good as well.
The app's really good. You can set up, because we want to view, it's got an artificial intelligence either in the camera or the base, and you can get it to ignore animals, but of course we don't want to do that. But it also identify if it's people only. So if you want to get it because you're trying to catch intruders for security, then you can use it for that as well. And it does work, but we've disabled all of that because we want to get wildlife.
I was about to say it would probably make quite a good security camera based on that.
It's called UV security. That is what it says on the side of the thing. So, but on one of the cameras, we've got one indoors which looks different to this, which is a pan and tilt one. On that one, I've switched off the human, so you can walk past it and it won't detect the motion. But I've switched on the pet, so when the cat comes through the cat flap, it sends you an alert to say that there's a pet there. So, but it doesn't pick us up when we walk past it, so it's really good.
And the wired ones, I mean, this was, well, I better not say how much it was because it was a present, but the wired version, the basic pan tilt zoom was about £40, which is not that bad. And it is this, if you are an Apple household and you know what HomeKit is, it does mean that everything can be connected through the HomeKit app. And it was actually through talking to James before Christmas to get some advice on HomeKit. That I found out about this stuff and that you can connect it, although I don't think James ever actually used this. But what we loved about it for us is that it's completely portable. We can put it into different places, and someone bought us, for example, and you'll like this, James, someone bought us a hedgehog house for Christmas, and we're going to set up this camera, actually I think it's this one, we're going to set up to look at the hedgehog house. So yeah, looks really good. I mean, if you ask us in a little while how we're getting on with it, but you've already seen results, and that's just 2 or 3 days after Christmas. So
okay.
Sales pitch over?
I think sales pitch over, yeah.
I have
So, Dave, before you go,
yes,
can that be remotely accessed by an iPad? For
oh yes,
instance?
I mean we can look at
I've
it now.
got a,
Actually, in fact, we could literally look at it on our phones.
If I just
And it sends an alarm to you if
Yep.
you. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
It sounds security, isn't it?
Yes, it's yes. I mean,
David?
it's got all of those sort of usual features.
So I've
but
got, and you probably can't. I don't know if you can put
I
it
can
on
show that
camera
onto
while-
the camera if I can hold it still enough.
And does it show you battery state as well? on there?
Yep, it shows you battery state, Wi-Fi
If I can
strength.
show you there,
Um,
it probably isn't going to focus.
No,
probably
the one is
accurately, but-
offline
No, we
because
can see that.
I've got the offline one here, so that's why it's not working.
And if you press live view, that was the last event it saw. So I've just pressed that.
That's now live in the back garden.
And that's on a phone, but it'll work on a tablet or an iPad or not just Apple devices. And if you can see here, there's a little symbol, and that's to light it up. If I could get that up.
Yeah.
You can switch on the floodlight. Look, if you spotlight switched on, do you see that?
Oh yes.
That
yeah.
is now in colour. The only thing for us, of course, is that we don't want to frighten off any wildlife.
No.
Which that probably would. But
Well, the thing is, Ring have now got a policy where you have to pay for cloud, don't you?
exactly.
It was free, but now it isn't. So if you had the Ring doorbell, but those in addition, that would be a very useful bit of kit, I think.
One of the things about it is that it said subscription free on it, and it was one of the things. You know, we don't, like anybody. You don't. I know a lot of products now are based on that, and that maybe they're getting some of their revenue for the development and things from ongoing subscriptions. But this is there's no subscription. You store it on the device, either in this memory card in the case of the wired camera, or in the case of the tower, the little sort of tiny little
base station.
Yeah. You know, it has 16 gig, I think, of internal memory.
Right.
But yeah, so happy to show us. If you catch one of us at the club as well, we can show you it live on the app and things. But so far, you know, I did a lot of research, and it ticked pretty much every box. I was worried, actually. The main thing I was worried about was the range, the actual wireless range of it, because that bit I did think may not be terribly good, especially when because we're already amateurs. We all know that really you should have aerials on all these things to make them work. So I was worried about how well that would work. I don't think it uses normal Wi-Fi either, by the way. The connection between them, I think, might use Zigbee, which is up the same sort of area of frequency, same sort of thing as Bluetooth, and it's encrypted as well, security-wise. I do feel like
up until the point when you said that you could use it, the battery could be given to you, and you could use it with an iPad. I wasn't that interested, but I am quite interested now. So, what was the name of it once more?
The name is Eufy, EUFY, and Amazon is the place I bought them because they have the main shop that the firm has there. As I said, the only thing I can tell you is manufactured by or imported by this company called Anker. And although I've never bought anything Eufy before, I have bought several Anker accessories, and they are good in that they're durable. They're not the cheapest, but then you can find lots of things very cheap on the internet if they've got no if they've got no sort of backing on them. And what worries me is that so many of these sorts of products rely on an app to work, as indeed this does. And if the firm isn't going to be around in a year or two, then you may not find it works with newer generations of operating system. So that's why I wanted to, as I said, it ticked every box, and it's not disappointed so far.
The clever thing, David, from my point of view, is it's not relying on Wi-Fi. So there's a base station which obviously receives a signal from it, and then transmits it, via a cable connection. So that's perhaps what gives it the range.
It may be. I think most people would agree that in an ideal world you do wire things, and James will tell you that. I mean, we could maybe put back to James actually to see what his view is, if you've got a view on this, James. I know I talked to you about this before Christmas, but we haven't actually talked about it. But as I said, for us, because we've got quite a big garden and we want to be able to put the camera where we want when we think something's been happening, like we've put this hay down, and we want to, we know now there's been some activity there, and you can't really do that if you're hard wiring. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, James. M0UKS, that is. I don't know if you want to.
Well, you can't beat cabling, because obviously you haven't got problems or interference or distance or anything like that. But it does look a nice camera, I must admit, and it's something I haven't heard of. But obviously, like you, I bought Anchor stuff in the past, and they've never done me wrong. And in fact, some of their cables outlasted Apple's cables. So, as I say, sounds look good. I'm going to be looking into it myself.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly. Well, well, I suppose we won't want to take everything apart.
Yeah, I should put my hands over Lynn's ears.
Yeah.
I'm quite surprised you haven't got one of those yet.
Look out for one of those little brown boxes, Lynn. You know the ones that James says he's taking it in for a neighbour. You know the ones. Sorry, James.
Sure. I'll look for little sort of things she's dug and buried in the garden. Okay.
I think it'll be you at this rate.
David, I've got a wired security system with 4 cameras around the house. And one of the cameras will not work infrared. Would that link up with my current system, do you think, to give me nighttime infrared? The system I have is wired. As I say, 4 cameras. 3 cameras work perfectly well infrared. I've replaced the 4th camera a couple of times, still doesn't work. I don't know why. Would that link into my current system, do you think?
I don't think so, Ralph, because this doesn't have a video output or anything on it. It does rely on having a particular app, either on a computer, which can be Windows or Mac, or a tablet, which can be Android or Apple. I don't think there'll be any way of getting standard video. I'm guessing that this is just a guess, that your wired system probably has a power cable of 12 volts, most are, unless it's a network cable that's going out of a camera. Is it a sort of composite, a BNC sort of video output?
We took over the house, 12 years ago. The system wasn't working. I got it up and running. All of a sudden, this camera wouldn't work. I got another camera, it wouldn't work. And I'm just wondering why the infrared at night will not work unless the floodlights come on. I do have a load of floodlights around the house as well, which gives us loads of security, but it would be nice to have the 4th camera working at night time.
I know this might be awkward to try, but the other thing you could try is, you see these cameras, the ones that have automatically go into night mode, which is where they sometimes physically move a shutter as well in front of the actual device, because they don't want to get too... Well, we are technical people, aren't we? So it's fine to talk to you about the technical side. The sensor itself is very sensitive to infrared, normally. And in fact, if you didn't have a filter in front of it, when you use a video camera normally, it would distort it because it would be oversensitive to a lot of infrared in a picture that it was looking at. So anything hot, for example, would give you a wrong colours. So what all camcorder manufacturers and people who make cameras for normal visible work do, they have a filter in front of them that filters out excessive amounts of infrared. Now, in security cameras at night, very often this shutter comes away, and in most cameras I've seen like this, you hear a little click when it goes into night mode. Yep. And it's physically moving a shutter in front of, a filter in front of behind the camera. Now, it could be it's doing that because it also senses the light in there. Could it be, especially as you've replaced the same camera in the same position several times, could it be that that's seeing an excess of light preventing it from going into night mode?
No, because it's in a very dark corner of the property, and there's really no light round about. I can't get to the bottom of it, and what you're talking about with that camera is so interesting. I wondered if a camera like that would work with my system.
It does. If you've exchanged the camera 2 or 3 times and all the cameras you've tried have the same scenario, I wonder if David is right here that it's not going into night mode.
That's why I suggested it, Ralph and Richard. Yeah, that's what I was going to think. If you've replaced it that many times, it's odd. In case unless they're seeing something, there's no other infrared source anywhere, is there?
No.
Coming from a neighbour or anything like that near a neighbour's camera?
No.
Okay. Well, there is somebody up there who can help you. If you want to take a note of this, it's John L. Baird. Well, he's making a note. He's going to kill me when I think others might have got the.
Yep.
Okay.
And of course Rab E. Burns. Right,
yeah, probably.
Rabbi Burns is about less than a mile from me, so I'll go and ask him.
Yeah, but if not, John L. Baird will help. No, but seriously.
Everything I say, David, is serious, as you well know. But hey, what a superb night.
In that case, conclude the evening. I don't know if you've seen my posting on the chat in Zoom, but there's a nice little Christmas technical line in there about why there was no room at the inn. I don't know if anyone's seen that.
No.
Oh, I see. Do you want me to read it out or not? But maybe I should for other people, or you can read it if you wish, Richard.
For his benefit, we all got told many, many times that there was no room at the inn, which is why the baby Jesus wasn't born there. Well, the real reason was, you know how rubbish the internet connection, the Wi-Fi is in Premier Inn and Travelodge. Well, it was the same back then. So they decided to go next door instead, where there was stable Wi-Fi.
Oh.
Yeah, the groans.
Did you have one cracker that you didn't crack open until tonight?
No, I think I know where the cracker is.
Yes.
Lovely. I like it.
All right.
God bless you all.
Yeah.
And Happy New Year.
And to you. And we're going to go as well now, because this has been a couple of hours and it's much more, to be honest, than there are many more people joining us than I wondered if might, because this is a funny time of the year, as they say. So thank you to all of you at home there on
David,
Zoom.
Before you go,
Yeah.
David.
Yes, okay, Julian.
Paul has been trying to speak. Paul was trying to talk to you a minute ago.
Okay, I'll go to Paul then. Paul.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Right, just time for a quick one. I bought a receiver which people might be interested in. It's an ATS 25X1. Very cheap, does all the AM bands. It doesn't do the UHF VHF, but it's got that on the normal broadcast. But it does quite a lot of frequencies, and it's cheap. And the sound in it is as good as the radios I've got here.
I mean, I must admit, I'm amazed by the display, Paul. What do you mean by cheap? How much is this?
Well, they said it was under 100 quid.
Wow.
I actually see one at less than £60.
Really?
Yeah. Now, there's one or two there. There's ATS 25, and I think there's something else, but there's an ATS 25x1. That's the better one, which I've got. And I've even seen this one at 50 to 70 quid.
That is extraordinary. What is it again? For those who want to make a note of this again, can you give us the brand again and the model number?
Yeah, it's well, it says RMSSB. It's Alpha Tango Sierra 25 X-ray number 1.
Right. Well, that is amazing.
I thought you got to put the antenna on it, but blimey, I couldn't believe how clear. And I even put my 7300 on and listened, and it's pretty phenomenal.
And is that based on an
really
SDR sort of technology, maybe?
Yeah, probably. Well, I think you can read it. It'll tell you all that stuff. But the price for what it does I was amazed. As soon as I see it, I thought, oh, I've got one of them. I'm pleased I did.
Mm.
I mean, I don't use the receiver too often, and I've got one of the ones that does up so many gigs and whatever. But this one, you can see everything on the screen. You've got the bands like the AM bands. I'm just trying to see if I can get back to it. Hang on.
£26 on AliExpress.
Yeah, we're just having a look, Steve, at that. Thank you. I didn't want to interrupt Paul, but Paul, Steve has just found it on the internet, Paul, at about 28 quid or so. So
28 quid
or something like that. So that sounds incredibly cheap, but
£40.
Right. Well, but I would just
be
add
careful, it's got to be the X1.
X1.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would just add a note of warning: buyer beware and things, because even nobody wants to lose even £25 or £30, but that does seem incredibly cheap. So, thank you for sharing it with us, Paul, because I'm sure that just looks incredible for that. I thought you were going to say at least £100 or a couple of £100.
You get a little thing with it. You can do it by your finger, but it's touch. And they send you one of these with it, which is really easy to use.
Mm.
But you can touch it with your fingers, and it works a treat. But I tell you, anybody who wants to come and check it and see what it's like, welcome to pop down and have a look.
Thank you.
But I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I think Paul's been down, ZBA, and I think he's seen it, and he liked it. And it's a lovely bit of kit.
Yeah, if you just want a
Anyway.
cheap small receiver to put somewhere, then that's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, lovely. Thank you very much indeed. So I'm not trying to wrap it up early, but I think we've been here a couple of hours, and I think probably a few people probably want to go now, and we've lost a few people off Facebook and BATC, understandably, because it's not normal now that we have a 2-hour meeting.
Just a couple of things before we
Yeah.
go. Roger says he's not on Zoom because he's got no voice. So, but that won't worry him, will it? Because he can, as long as he can use his
I
fingers.
hope you're all right, Roger. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry if you're not. Yeah, I didn't know that you weren't well. Sorry.
Also, Paul Gunther, G4XBT is active. Greetings from Manchester, going home tomorrow.
Because he's Poland normally, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's from these parts, and then he normally lives in Poland though. So lovely to hear from you as well, Paul.
And Nigel says he's just got a cup of tea because he's been working all over Christmas.
There you go.
So.
Cup of tea.
Yep.
I'm going to go home for one now because I haven't had one for several hours now. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody being both joining us on Zoom, and also those of you watching on BATC and Facebook and have done so as well throughout the year, thank you ever so much because it's what drives us on. So I'm so pleased to see so many people join us tonight. We've had a great time. It'll be back to the normal NARC shirt next week.
Oh,
but
really?
we will see, yeah, it will be. I'm sorry about that. We can't have Christmas dinner, but that doesn't make them special, does it? We do hope that you have a very happy new year, and may it be healthy and peaceful too for everybody. Thanks again for all your support for us. To remind you what's happening, there is no GB2RS news this Sunday. On Monday night, we've got the Monday night net at 7:30 on GB3MB, and then the CW net at 8:30. The 80 metre CW net on 3.543 megahertz. And then next Wednesday, the 4th of January, here on NARC Live, again, we've got assessing effectiveness of your station with Anthony K8ZT. And please don't forget to send us some pictures and stories of what you've been getting onto as well. That's what we've been doing for the last couple of hours. Wonderful to see you all. Take care. So have a good New Year celebration, and most importantly, let's hope for a good New Year for everybody. And just a quick wave from everybody at home, I think, as well, to everybody. Let's see if we can just messing up Tammy now with all her buttons and things for pressing it. So thanks all of you for joining us. We will see you again next week for NARC Live. Until then, from Tammy M0TC.
Bye-bye.
And from me, David G7URP. Bye-bye. Take care.